Hello, my name is Nico Steves. Welcome to this week's installment of Constant Procession. This podcast is about a mini-series on the Virgin Mary and the Lenten season. But before this, I'll be having segments from the audiobook version of The Very Fine Light. Oh, one other thing. For those of you currently reading my book, please, when you finish it, do go to the book's Amazon.com page and rate it. I have a link at nicosteves.com that will get you to the page on Amazon. The Very Fine Light is a contemporary novel with Christian themes about a village on the verge of bankruptcy, the mayor with a secret, and Randy, a fun-loving co-worker who's always in trouble for telling it like it is. And now, Chapter 17. Mikey had come in at 5:10 a.m. per Chef Joe's request. This early arrival allowed enough time so that Mikey could get the water boiling in 3 giant steam kettles that Chef Joe would need to start making oatmeal, cream of wheat, and hard-boiled eggs for the elderly care residents and staff breakfasts. Chef Joe stormed in and glanced around the kitchen to see if everything was up and running. Seeing things in order, he gave Mikey an approving nod. Mikey breathed out a sigh of relief, then smiled. "It's a mess out there," Chef Joe yelled. "Is the snow still coming down?" Mikey asked. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. And there sits the snowplow while my mom is out somewhere on ambulance duty," Chef Joe barked back. Startled, Mikey now asked, "Got anything else for me to do?" "Nah, that's it for now. I'm going outside to take a look-see," Mikey said. Chef Joe tore open a 50-pound sack of oatmeal as Mikey walked out of the kitchen. The burly cook hoisted the heavy sack onto his shoulders and began dumping the contents into one of the giant kettles of boiling water. "Hey, grab me one of those wooden spoons so I can stir this." He looked over to where Mikey had been standing, but the teen had disappeared. As Mikey opened the side door, an avalanche of wet snow fell on him. Petros had just come over from the street and laughed in spite of himself. Mikey pulled off his knit cap and hastily began brushing his snowy shoulders with it. "This wet stuff is crazy," Mikey fumed. At the same time, Julie climbed up the village hall front stairs and started shaking her ice-caked umbrella vigorously. Almost at the same time, Mikey, Julie, and Petros turned to look at the snowplow. It was buried under a growing buildup of slurry that had begun turning into ice. Julie shouted, "Where's Randy?" Mikey and Petros shook their heads. "Did you come to help him today, Mikey?" she asked, dusting the wet slush from the lapels of her coat. "Not really. I've been getting the kettles boiling in the kitchen for Chef Joe," Mikey yelled from where he and Petros stood. "But I'm happy to help." "He really needs to have been here by now," Julie snapped. "Maybe Randy got stuck on the way in," Mikey said hopefully. "How much fuel were you able to get yesterday afternoon?" Well, I had to get on to school," he nervously replied. "You needed to have followed up before you left work." Mikey sensed the disappointment in her voice. "I'm really sorry," Mikey apologized. Julie glared at Mikey and then warned, "So long as he's got enough fuel to get the main roadways plowed." Petros felt uneasy at her comment as he pulled up his collar to protect himself against a strong gust. He and Mikey started walking towards the front porch. "Mikey, take Mr. Petros to the kitchen and get him a cup of coffee." Looking at Petros, Julie said, "You go inside with Mikey and wait. Randall Sparks should be here soon. Don't worry, the cup of coffee is on the house." Petros nodded. Julie pulled out her cell phone to see if Randy had called. "Follow me, Mr. Petros," Mikey said in a worried tone as they walked back to the side door. Julie shook her head. "I'm going to have to call Jakey in from retirement. He's just down the street. At least I can rely on him to be responsible. He mentored Randy, and maybe after seeing Jake at the wheel, Randall will get a piece of the old curmudgeon's mind." Petros had a different concern. "They keep calling me Mr. Petros. How can I sort it out before they all think that's my last name?" And Mikey felt worried too. What if Randy didn't get enough fuel? And now, on to part 2 of this podcast. This part of the mini-series on Easter time finds continued moments of endurance and impatience as the 40 days finds Palm Sunday and the Passion in focus. Along with these conflicting sensations, the darkest hour and the brightest day can be experienced when seen within the spring activities of the world all around us. Of brightness, wonders abound in nature with the budding of flowers and trees, to the chirping of birds whose flight patterns zip them to and fro, gathering bits of food for newly hatched yearlings, requiring constant attention from their guardians. Likewise for people and the bringing into Christian churches new candidates or catechumens who have been studying and are now preparing to be baptized into the church community on the final days of Easter time, and growing the Christian family. And the hustle and bustling about activities finds its way into our family lives as we make preparations for the breaking of the Lenten fast on Easter. The family host now seeks out buying those once-a-year special mealtime items for that traditional family holiday get-together meal, including preparing eggs by coloring them to create Easter eggs. Also, lest no one forgets the Easter Bunny and the support team who assists the bunny in the efforts to build Easter baskets and the planning out of Easter egg hunts. Because Easter Sunday after church will be when the cultural favorite foods complements the hopes and families who commit to come together once again for the Easter dinner. Of course, over the last 2 decades, the advantage of everyone sharing the same Easter week vacation, which affords the society at large a chance for everyone to enjoy the same national holiday time, is diluted with schools and universities working hard to distance themselves from Christian affiliations and succeeding in making Easter family visits a bit more of a challenge. Nevertheless, during Easter week, the society as a whole is in a more reflective mood, if for no other reason than the grayness of winter's stillness has yet to depart from the earth circling the sun. It still aligns with the darkest hour of Jesus coming to his final day on earth. And based on how much effort a person has put into praying, abstaining, fasting, and giving to the less fortunate over the 40 days of your Lenten journey, you are by now fighting with extremes of the feelings associated with Easter. The facing of our ups and downs, things we have done that were successful, things we have done that were not as successful. And in the quiet places in a person's heart grows a longing for guidance and strength that comes with Jesus during his final days. The Virgin Mary's reflections must have been dramatic moments as the first Easter years passed in her personal life. Initially, anyways, the larger world would not have acknowledged what had happened during the crucifixion and resurrection. She, however, most clearly understood what it all meant. And from some collections of masses of the Blessed Virgin Mary from the liturgical press, during Lent, the Blessed Virgin is the model of the disciple who faithfully listens to the Word of God and follows the footsteps of Christ to Calvary, there to die with him. She is the new Eve, or the new woman, who stands by the tree of life, and as the spiritual mother into whose maternal care the Lord entrusts all his followers. And from Father Bertram Bubb, encouraging and empowering the presence of Mary, silent, steadfast, at the heart of the total Paschal mystery. By the memory of the Mother of Jesus, we are enabled to likewise be courageous, prayerful, and faithful as we come to our Lenten journey of the Easter season. This is Nico Steves. I hope you enjoyed this installment. My book, The Very Fine Light, can be found using the title, The Very Fine Light, on Amazon.com. Please feel free to contact me at nicosteves.com. That's Nikos Steves, Steves.com. If you like this episode, and for more, share them with friends. This is Nico Steves. Thank you. See you next time.